All right, it's 4:30. We'll call this joint building and grounds and budget committee order. I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Haley.
Here.
Commissioner Hogan.
Here.
Commissioner Couts.
Here.
Commissioner Moore.
Here.
And I'm here, so that makes us have a quorum.
Mr. Stubblefield.
Here.
Mr. Glover. Here. Commissioner Wade.
Here.
And I am present, so that we've got a quorum. Under your minutes
Yeah,
first.
I'll entertain a motion to approve our minutes. Got a motion by Commissioner Hogan.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Haley. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. So moved.
So the budget committee, we have two sets of minutes, one from our January 5th, 2020 meeting and one from our January 20th, 2021 meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
I've got a motion to approve by Wade and a second by Glover. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let it be known that carries. The budget committee, I've got one resolution. It's a number 33, and we're going to go ahead and knock this out before we get started. This is a $210,000 contribution that came in from is it Virginia? It's Mr. Brown, I know.
Yeah, it was Virginia Stokes Brown Foundation gave it to Northcrest, and Mr. Ken Ward brought me the check today, so I told him we'd do a budget amendment, and then we could get moving with that. And I had Commissioner Kevin Gray in there. He thinks that maybe I need to double check with the state auditors and find out if we need some sort of agreement. So I'll check with that. And we approved this budget amendment, and we need that with the county commission in February. We'll take care of both of them then.
If there's not any questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
I've got a motion to approve by Commissioner Wade and a second by Commissioner Bowens. Any more questions or discussion? We ready to vote? Commissioner Glover? Aye. Commissioner Bowens? Aye. Commissioner Stubblefield?
Aye.
Commissioner Wade?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, so the ayes have it. Then I think Jody's got one more thing she wants to fill our committee in on, and then we'll be ready to move on with this meeting.
Okay, basically at your county commission meeting last night, you all did a second reading on resolution. I think it was 12/21/20/141. It's where there's $400,000 being taken out of the fund balance, and then there's the governor's local grant money coming out of the county general fund. I'm going to go on ahead and transfer those funds into Fund 171 now that everything's official. Just a lot of money to transfer. I just want to get y'all's blessing. It's $626,889 we'll pull out of the county general fund and put it in the Fund 171 for general capital projects for the solid waste safety project, just so y'all know.
Good, thank you, Jody. Yeah?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well,
Yeah. Well, I think that the mayor has called this meeting for us because we had some concerns over the sheriff needing a place for his simulator, and Ms. Hamsley with the place she has. So we thought the best thing we'd do is open up the floor for both of them to discuss what they have, and whoever wants to go first is more than welcome to go first if the sheriff does.
He needs to go first because I didn't know there was an issue with my room, so I wasn't invited to a meeting and I didn't know anything about it, so he needs to go first.
Well, we didn't actually have a meeting for your room. I mean, we didn't call a meeting for your room. We just got brought up.
So I don't really know what's going on because this is the first time I've been to a meeting. I have spoke to the mayor, so I don't really know what's going on.
So, back in, I guess it was
Wait a
December.
minute. I got an email from you, Miss Kathy,
Yeah,
explaining a few days ago.
right.
So you don't know now, but you look
No.
like you knew what was going on a few days ago.
I don't know what he needs. I just know he needs the room. The mayor come and met with me and he needs the room for some equipment. So they're asking me to give the room up again. So that's
Well, I
really
was
all
under the understanding that, based on your email,
Right.
it showed that you had a good sense, a good knowledge of what was being conducted here, and the reason there would be some concern and to have this meeting. That's what I
Yeah,
received from
I'm
that.
not objecting to the meeting, it's just, all I know is what the mayor told me about the simulator. I don't know about the space or how it come about that my room is involved. You know, I don't know how it came to be. So.
Well, it came to a point also, not just me and you were talking, but there was, for instance, a ceiling height of 9 feet, what you needed, and you have 8 feet down there. Is that right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
I want to make sure that we're on the same
Yeah,
page
after
and
I
everybody
spoke-
understands.
After I spoke to the mayor, then I got with the sheriff because Jody was in my office, because I thought before anybody starts discussing the room, somebody needs to see it and somebody needs to measure it. So he had two of his guys, this is Mayor Scott, my tech, this is Troy Dangle. So they went in because in the meeting, I was able to pull up the meeting after the mayor come and spoke with me, and I heard the sheriff say he needed a 9-foot ceiling. And those rooms are just 8 foot after they measured them that day.
That's a drop ceiling, isn't it?
Yeah, they went in and checked it, and that it'll fit in there.
Let me, since my name's done come up about 20 times, when the sheriff said what he said at that meeting, he wasn't on the agenda about it. So,
No, it's because it came
Yeah,
under new business.
and I seen, for about a week there, I thought maybe I can work this out without it getting to this point, and I saw I couldn't. So that's the reason we're here. Well, nobody trying to spring nothing on anybody or nothing. I was trying to find a peaceful solution. I checked on some buildings and I just racked my brain, but I've seen it's probably something that's coming from building grounds. And the reason budget is here is whatever we do, it's going to cost some money. But whichever way you go with it, it's going to be some money involved. Okay.
Well, back about 3 years ago when Lanny and we talked about the building at TSC, I was ecstatic. It would work. We were so excited. But then it come to find out, we went and we measured it. Joe Ford. He didn't have much space that I needed. Well, then come to find out, and I don't know where this came from. Jody might know, somebody else might know on the committee. But what his plans were is the storage that Caleb has out beside there, he has access to that in the contract for 10, I don't think he has a 10-year contract or a 20-year contract. So that's what Lanny wanted to do. He wanted to tear down that storage where the Department of Safety would have parking over there. And then you've got the highway patrol, and then you've got Caleb, you know, he's got 2 or 3 trucks and a couple employees, and we were hoping then the rest of the parking would be for us, but that didn't happen. So when that didn't happen, also we went back down. I don't know if you was at that meeting or not. When we went in there, suddenly Caleb needed more space than he originally said that we could have. So he took 4,800 square feet away from us. Also, there was not a private entrance. You would have to go through the highway patrol front door in order to get us a private entrance, and they weren't willing to give that up. So it wasn't that I didn't want to go. It would have been a perfect space. It's just the parking issue didn't work out with tearing down that storage area. And then Caleb suddenly needed 46 or 4,800 square feet. It's been about 3 years.
We worked that out, hadn't we, Mr. Chairman, with Caleb, with his
Yeah.
office and everything down there. We put him back in his framework.
Well, actually, he has acquired more space than he did.
He
But
did,
I mean-
but there's absolutely 0 parking spots down
Yeah,
there.
there's no parking
There's no
spots
parking.
whatsoever.
That's history.
Unless
Exactly.
you
We
got
don't need to be talking about what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna get to that, I think. But the parking is gone from down there.
there's
We
none.
can't rent a spot because there's not a parking spot down there.
Okay,
No.
between Caleb and THP.
Exactly.
It's just a storage place if you want to
Well,
put stuff
that
in
is
there.
history, because we're
Yeah.
not moving to that
Exactly.
place.
Right.
Yep.
So that room down there is probably about 860 square feet. Is that kind of, is it like 36 by 24 or something
I don't
like that?
know, Joe, because you got,
39.
It's got total square foot in that one room, 1,145 square feet.
Now, is that counting the offset too, or is
That's
that,
counting the offset,
so with just the square that they use there, it's about 800?
35.
Yeah, okay.
This, what the sheriff would have to have, the bigger part of the room is 935, and that little offset, I think, is 11 by 19, I think.
And did the election commission have a problem with that building? I was somewhere,
They weren't, I don't think it was unanimous that they didn't feel like the security would be what we have now.
Kathy, you're talking about from the security side, the keeping of the machinery, the voting booths and things like that. That's the security, not necessarily for your employees.
And I guess we go over this about every 2 or 3 years. You know, we go over where I know the sheriff, I'm sorry that he's growing. But when we first moved into this building in '96, when the architect planned everything out and Mayor Schott was here with his mom, they put us down there because the TCA code reads, and that's why we are still there today. The local authority adopting voting machines shall have custody of them when they are not in use in an election and shall preserve and keep them in repair. All keys for voting machines shall be securely locked between elections by the voting machine technicians. A public officer who is entitled to the custody of the machines for any period of time is entitled to the keys necessary for proper use of the machines in the office is in charge, officers in charge. Local authorities shall provide ample police protection against tampering with or injury to the voting machines after they have been prepared for and during an election, and shall provide adequate storage at all other times. So this is an election state law 29104. So the reason why we are where we are is because the architect said, we're putting the sheriff's department down there. You're going to have ample police protection. You're going to have security, and you're going to have camera footage if we should ever have a lawsuit. And as we all know what's going on in the news today with fraud.
Now, is that during election time?
This is
Not
all
even-
the time. This, because right now they still have data on. This is all the time. They have to have protection.
So you've had your machines in there since
Since
1990?
1996, and that's because we need
25 years.
protection. Now, when we moved down to the room, we've moved down to the TSC, there's cameras down there because of the Department of Safety, and there was the highway patrol. But if you just set us out somewhere in a building with a couple of cameras, all somebody's got to do is break a window, and they can get in there and get 4, 5, 6 machines in no time flat once they're programmed for an election, and they're gone. But that's why I'm where I am today. We've had 3 sheriffs that, we've had meetings with three different sheriffs, and now with Michael. Because as they need space, and I understand, as they need space, that's right, right down there where they are. But we've not had any problems. We've not had anybody come to us from the state and want to see why we got broken into, why someone would think there would be fraud. Secretary of State, I spoke with that office, and they assured us, according to TCA code, I'm where I need to be because as long as I've been here, we've not had any problems.
Couple things for that. Number one, y'all heard my need in December. Here was the need that we had to have, and they do a great job, and I appreciate what they do, and we've always got along, worked well together and stuff. But as she said, we're growing and need space. The other part of that is what I brought up at the last meeting is I have great concern being an elected official, having voting machines in my area of responsibility. Now, I don't have a key to that door, but it's still within the sheriff's office. Years ago, there were no cameras down there or anything, and we just got the cameras put in here a couple of years ago to cover that hallway down there. I did check with CTAS, other counties, to see how they do things. Because I think it's a conflict coming and she's right. With the way things are this year with elections and scrutiny we're gonna have, elections going forward, that made me even more on the edge about having them in my area of responsibility. I called Sumner County, Cheatham County, Dixon County, Williamson County, Montgomery County, and none of them, as soon as I asked the question, do you keep any of your voting machines in the area the sheriff's responsible for? Every one of them, no. That was the answer from all of them. I don't want them things near us. We're elected officials. I said, I agree. Ask them what-
I've never, I mean, I'm sorry, I've never heard that.
I asked them what the security measures are, that they take with the voting machines. They said, we do nothing with them at all, have nothing. The only thing, Montgomery County was the only one that said, if they have a voting precinct that is kind of nervous about transporting their ballots or their equipment back, they'll provide an escort for them back to their main office while they do the count or whatever. When I checked with CTAS, just to be clear on the law, because I read the law differently, and I'm not a lawyer, so I wanted to get CTAS's legal opinion of what the law actually says. And it says, the local authority, which is county commission, will provide ample police protection while the machines are once they've been programmed for the election. That's the only time. And then it says that the local authority, the county commission, should provide proper storage for it. Their opinion back to me is the sheriff has nothing to do with the security of voting machines. He's an elected official. He shouldn't have anything to do with them. Understand, the concern on that part of it. So I think there's a little bit discrepancy on how the law is interpreted, but that's coming from CTAS. The sheriff is not responsible for the security of those machines.
All right,
Michael, have we asked you
let me,
to protect
let
those
me chime
machines?
in just a minute since I am a lawyer. From what Kathy's reading, it would appear to me that that space does comply with the TCA. And you talked about talking to CTAS. What my recommendation would be, if y'all want to continue down this path, is to get an attorney general's opinion.
Michael, I'll ask the question again. Have we asked you as a county body, county legislators, to protect those machines?
No, there's nothing in
Have
the
we-
law that gives me authority to do that.
Okay.
But, local authorities shall provide ample police protection against tampering with or injury to the voting machines after they've been prepared for and during an election. Not all the time. And you shall provide adequate storage at other times. That's nothing about the sheriff. Most of the time, sheriffs and police are, in their state law, are considered totally different things for obvious reasons. We're elected officials, police are not. I don't mind helping try to pay for a camera or something to put on a room somewhere else in the building that's out of my area of responsibility. I'm glad to do that. Alarm or whatever. But I really would like them, not in my area of responsibility, to take care of what I see as a conflict of interest or just a perception of the scrutiny that we have now with elections. The other part is, just the need for the room. Of course, we got the simulator coming. We need it bad. Part of it's already here. The rest of it will be here in a couple of weeks. I'll be ready to set it up here in February. We start training in March. The location of that room is perfect for us. I got my training divisions already down there. I have my training classroom across the hall from it. It's in a secure area. I've already got gun locks right there by the jail door where we can secure our weapons. We have to have a secure place to put our weapons because you can't take live ammunition and weapons into a training simulator for obvious safety reasons. All that's in place. It's in a secure area that's quiet. It's a simulator. There's gunfire. There's screaming. There's yelling. She was trying to work with us and offered us the cafeteria on the main floor, and I appreciate that. But for those obviously reasons, that's not going to work. I can't be screaming in there and shooting guns off when the public's trying to do business down that hall. It's just not feasible.
How big a space do you have to have for that?
I remember it had to be at least 14 foot wide, and I think it was 32 foot long. And we got a different one. The ceiling height, he said, would work. He went down there and measured it. But I had to go ahead and draw schematics and place the simulator in the room, scale, just to make sure it would fit. I appreciate them working with us to measure the room, make sure we could get it in there. It's been a long time since I've been in that room, and I'm not going in that room as an elected official. I wouldn't go down there and meet with them the other day, just because I don't want to have to answer for that. But this machine's also pretty unique because all these 3 panels, the screens we have, we can actually divide those up in the room any way we want to. You space them out, put them behind you, in all kinds of different scenarios. As far as my budget cost to get the room up and running, the only thing I know is put some carpet, some paint in there, and I got that in my budget. I don't need any more money for that part of it. I understand there may be another room, if y'all decide to move that, they do need improvements to or whatever. I just need some help. You know, that's what I came to the committee for in December. I had a need. Here's my need, and I need some help to get my training done, so I'm in compliance. And we don't get a lawsuit for failing to train properly. I'm not going to do that. It is a pain because, you know, we've been here 24 years, 97. We're outgrown the space in this building.
And and when we first moved down there, we had the big Shoetronic machines, and we had to take half, maybe 20 upstairs and the rest downstairs. Then when the state bought us newer machines, they're a little bit bigger than suitcases. But once you open them up and have to do what these guys do, and I'd have to let you explain, we now have 20 more machines that the state purchased because of the growth. Last year, with grant money, I purchased 24 backup batteries. So, you know, we're using it all right now, and we have to keep those batteries charged, you know, off and on. But, you know, as far as the code and what, you know, the sheriff was explaining, that's why I have the cameras down there. That's why we've not had any trouble. I don't expect him to give me police protection, but if somebody should do something or break in, I know they're there, and I know they can protect them, and I know that there's cameras if he happened, you know, to go in there, which I know that he's not.
Can you correct me if I'm wrong? The only thing the budget committee is interested in is what's this going to cost us. He's telling us nothing to move into that space downstairs. What would it cost? That's what I'm asking. You're not going to change the room with anything that we have to do.
I got money in my budget to put some carpet in there.
Put carpet up. You've got it covered. What would it take? What would it cost us to move Kathy to another space? Because I'm all for keeping our costs to near as little as possible. We didn't budget for this.
I agree, we didn't budget for this. I also have a problem, okay, if the sheriff takes her room, then Kathy says, I want this room. So where does it end? At what point do we say, that's been hers for 25 years, and when she's willing to give it up, that's when someone else gets it? And I know, I saw the area, it's right in their wheelhouse. So the placement of it probably wasn't the best 25 years ago, but we've had zero claims of election fraud.
I agree.
And
I agree.
and I see both sides. I get it from both sides.
I'm just trying to make sure I'm getting my head wrapped around this thing. But couldn't Kathy's equipment be put on the next floor up? Let's make a real secure area up there.
Well, I think Joe said about $125,000 for AC.
Just for AC.
Okay. So that's going to be hard
That's
for us
about
to do.
$350,000.
As I understand
4 or 5
it-
years ago, it's going to be about, you know, 15, 20,000 was the additional, like, hotel unit. What we were talking.
Can't use them. Not for her. Can't use it. It has to be climate control with dehumidification. They wouldn't have.
That's what I was
Of course, you put her on the 4th floor, line sets can only go 100 feet. That's at the max. And it's out of your split system, your little mini split. Those hotel units don't have any dehumidification on them.
So the equipment, because of the nature of the equipment, we have all those requirements, and you're saying it's 125,000.
10 years ago was 104 or 106,000 to do the 3rd floor where they talked about knocking out and putting Kathy's soap machine. That was 10 years ago, but so we just stopped it at that because we didn't have the money.
So if we can't go that route, take it up. Sounds like it's best to stay where it's at. She's been there a long time. Then what what are you saying to the sheriff, where could he go? How much would it cost to get the room upstairs ready if he wanted to do it there? And I know that's not convenient because his training's downstairs. So it seems where I'm at, I don't honestly care. I just want to know the dollar amount. And right now, I wish y'all could figure out a way to make it work.
Well, that's why I thought, well, since he's went on and purchased it, and he has it,
Yeah.
and we don't have an election until 2022, if there was some way he could use the early voting room, because it's a big open space with nobody using it, and that would give somebody time, year and a half,
What about putting your equipment in there and lock it up?
but we still got well, that's a technician's call.
What?
That would be the technician's call, except we gotta have the room that we have now for the programming and the electrical.
Well, all I'm saying is that room's there and you're offering him.
Right.
I have a real big problem with him hearing people coming up and down the halls hearing guns fire and all that.
What would
I
you
mean,
do
I understand, I didn't know how loud that'd be, I just
Yeah.
offered it, I'm just trying to
So
during
offer.
during an early early voting? Where would you put the machines if you were storing them in there? So we'd be back.
You'd be back to square
I mean,
one.
they're
So we got
working.
about 12 months probably to find a place permanent.
And then they spend 2 months programming and, the reason why we have the big space is they'll tell you have to set up all the tables and all the machines.
Mm-hmm.
You've got 3 of them working and you're verifying, printing tapes, hooking up printers. It's just not a little room where you're doing one at a time.
Okay.
And then they have to stay in there, sealed, locked up till we deliver them to the officers of election.
Mayor, who's ultimately going to make this decision? Because
Yes, not ours.
I feel like as a budget committee, I've got no say-so in this whatsoever.
Well, I feel like we're all elected officials trying to see
Well-
who's getting what spot.
The reason we're here, I tried a week to just find a simple solution to this. And the sheriff more or less told me he wanted the machines moved away from him. And, she's got an argument about they're safe down there, they're in a room that's right, air temperatures and humidifiers, and I see both sides. But I also saw that whoever lost this battle, money's gonna have to be spent. If the sheriff goes to the 3rd floor, you're gonna spend money up there. And my suggestion was maybe we could use part of the WIC building.
Here's the
That
other
we
thing,
own.
the judge will test, I can't go to the 3rd floor.
See,
I
he
can't
said,
train over the courtroom.
he told me he couldn't go to the 3rd floor. I saw something about the WIC building, and both of them told me that wouldn't work. And,
I have to be where the machines are.
See,
So I don't know
I
if
mean,
I would
the
fit.
reason the mayor's here with y'all, I run out of options.
I have to be where they are because we're the command center election night when they bring all the machines and the results. You have to have every machine with you, just in case one of our workers don't do what they're supposed to. You have to open up the machine to retrieve the results.
Because I asked Kathy, I said,
Minimal, but.
I have to admit, she's got it fixed up down there with machines are in precincts, electricity coming down to each machine where they can do their work, getting them ready and prep them. And I thought, well, maybe Kathy will go to the WIC building with their whole office for parking for early voting and everything. And that's gonna take a lot of money to get the WIC building up for her.
And from my understanding, the state still has some stuff in that WIC building. Is that a correct statement?
They got,
That's not officially ours
Yeah.
yet.
but, as far as me making this decision, I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, I was told to move my car the other day. So I ain't got a whole lot of damn power, I don't think.
Any place that the building could be expanded on the, west side?
Also, I can think of, we're already swamped with parking back there. We're so far out of parking spots around here.
How many people will be training at one time?
How many?
Yeah.
At one time in the simulator, you can run anywhere from 1 to your SWAT team coming in there.
I'm just trying to figure out like how many more cars we're gonna be parking here and parking's at a premium now.
Right, you're talking about having to build a parking lot, we know what that's gonna cost.
I can pull people out of jail and
to me-
train on their shifts.
To me, the cheapest route would be somebody going to the 3rd floor, because there's a lot of space up there, it's just being used for nothing.
I got a question. I'm just asking, if short term, if the voting machines were moved to the cafeteria, short term, and we get good prices on what's gonna take to the 3rd floor, it sounds like to me there's not a lot of options. I mean, I get both sides.
But now, we do have storage in that room now, but I mean, it's just not, it's a big room, and I
Yes,
think
ma'am.
he's welcome to use it, but I don't know where I'd put all of my storage that I have. Because upstairs, what I have now it's pretty nasty, I'm sorry. I mean, we all have storage rooms. That's another thing going upstairs. Everybody has a storage room, everybody has a key to the elevator. And a lot of times I go up there in my storage room and I go right to the elevator because somebody forgot to lock it. So I've got voting machines up there in rooms that have been programmed. I mean, our stuff still has data on them. We have to keep the data on them for so long. The guys hadn't even done anything to them yet. I mean, the space for me would have to be secured where no one, and I know everybody uses, a lot of the elected officials have storage up there. But I'm not opposed, I mean, I'll go anywhere, it's gotta work. Because what I have right now is working. And I've not had any complaints, I've not had, like I said, any lawsuits.
Kathy, we've all heard that 3 times now. Let me just, and I appreciate it, Kathy, but we need to make a decision, and move
Yeah.
on.
You know, if I make a decision, I'm gonna say, okay, Sheriff, you're not getting the room, what are you gonna do?
Y'all a letter putting you on notice for my number one about having election machines in my area responsible.
Okay, there you go, the mayor can't fix that. If I tell you gotta move, what are you gonna do?
I'll probably go to the Secretary of State and, see what he says.
Well, can't we just come to some compromises here? Look, if somebody's gotta move, it's a simple, somebody's gotta do something. You two have got to come to terms, and Kathy, I'll be honest, right now, I feel like if it's right in his area,
I
and he's not
understand.
gonna take responsibility for him, we're caught in a rock and a hard place.
Exactly.
I
So
understand where they
what
are.
I suggest is
understand.
you move the equipment up to that cafeteria, we lock it down, and we got 6 months to find a decision.
And get the money up, because this money is not being budgeted.
Kathy, are you in this room down there every day, every week, every month?
Which
How
one?
often, where you got your machines today?
We're down there at least quarterly,
Just
Quarterly, so
They have to
3
do
months.
They have
unless it's an election cycle. Now, the election cycle, where we're having 3 elections a year, we're down there probably 7, 8 months out of the year.
but
7,
like
8
right
months out of
now-
the year.
But like right now, when they're down there quarterly, they've gotta have the
How
electricity.
many hours are you putting in that room?
During an election cycle,
No, right now.
Right now,
right now,
next 6
I mean,
months.
if we're down there quarterly, down there probably 6 to 8 hours.
Okay. And Sheriff, you've been using it every day, right?
Not every day, but it'd be used constantly throughout the year.
You're gonna let other entities. try
Yeah, this
to
ain't just for
do it.
us either. We got police departments throughout the county that's gonna be able to use this machine.
I understand that.
So that money that came from Ridgestock, so we thought it was fair to use.
And Kathy, I think you got the room fixed up well. It's perfect.
We're talking 6 months, it's gonna take you a year and a half to renovate anywhere you put either one of them in this building. And because you gotta go through the bid process, the tearing out, you won't get it done in 6 months.
I begin January 2022. That's when the next election cycle starts, and we'll have to do the machine. So you've got
1 year.
1 year. We got,
So that means we better get started pretty quick if we're gonna have to move it. And let's get something done, y'all. But, I don't see where it's budget committee's responsibility to tell them what to do. My thing is, as a budget committee member, find the cheapest price we can get by, the best price we can get by with. I don't wanna spend $250,000 on renovating a room for her.
But Dennis, where the buildings and grounds have the responsibilities of making a suggestion to put you somewhere. That's our job as a committee, right? To handle that situation, same with you, Sheriff, in that structure. So it is our responsibility as buildings and grounds. Shouldn't be, but that's what we're called to do. And so because of that, we're gonna have to find something to satisfy the 2 entities. And you both have great suggestions and comments. I wish that we had a good solution, but it doesn't look like that we're going to come to that this afternoon.
I didn't think we would,
No, I didn't either.
Yeah.
but I wanted both committees to be aware
Yeah.
that it's fixing to cost us some money, and you are looking at a time frame. And like I say, the sheriff just came December,
Right.
and here it is January the 20-something, So, I made a big effort last week, but I knew that I couldn't make this decision without the committees being aware of what's going on.
Sheriff, I know that you are the owner of the property and you're gonna do the training, but you're gonna get all the other municipalities involved. Did some of these city places not have somewhere, I know you're the owner of it, but if you're gonna be training them, does some of our city people have any big areas?
I don't know if any of them's got the area, but the other problem for that is, I've
Yeah.
got half of my staff works in the
Right.
jail and pulling them, and the courts, I can pull them off their posts during their
Yeah.
shift and run them through training modules and things.
Yeah, I understand, I'm just
I'd love
thinking-
just to have a training center somewhere, but it's the same problem. They work here, so pulling them and sending them across the county
Yeah.
somewhere.
I mean, we've all been here since '96 and we've all grown. I mean,
And it's not gonna get any easier over the years.
I mean, I'm thankful I got 22,000 people. I don't know how I did it. Got 22,000 people through here in 2 weeks. But I did, and our county got praised for it. We did a fantastic job, but, there's growth everywhere.
So,
Sheriff, does any other department pay anything for the use of the simulator?
I wasn't gonna charge anybody, cause that was the Ridgetop, the Leosa money that come from Ridgetop,
Yeah.
so I thought it was fair to put that money back to all the county agencies. Have some of the best trained law enforcement in the
Are
state.
they gonna, how long does that continue on?
It's a one-time purchase and that money's through, so.
I don't see a problem with helping out our other police departments in the county, for making sure that, since that money came from Ridgetop, through that police department up there, I think that all the police departments in the county should get an opportunity. If at some point in time, y'all as a county commission want to put a limit on how many years that is, that's up to y'all. But I think for right now, it's free to the cities. It ought to be.
We do other training for the cities already, the basic get service and things.
so
Whatever solution you come up to, it needs to be cheap. We just spent $400,000 on fund balance for solid waste, and that's been a giant money pit. I don't want.
I didn't see this coming, and I knew where we're at financially. And, for this to be put on us is tough. I mean, it's
Yeah,
tough.
timing couldn't be any worse.
Yeah, I'm, as the mayor, I tried.
I know you did,
So
Mayor.
even
I know
if you leave the machines there, he's not gonna be happy. I mean, he's done said he wants them moved, and I see her side, and this is not gonna be a cheap fix.
Well, like we said, it's been a long time. The county's grown. It's now time to make a decision on what to do with them. And I'll be honest, it sounds to me like the cheapest option would be, since that's in his area and he don't want to be responsible, we give him that area downstairs. And y'all just you've got a year to find a spot and get it ready for it.
So we got the Wicks building over there. And
Got
I,
it
you know,
here.
She's
and
got
if-
to be with her machines, though.
well, I know, that's what, I mean, to me, I would move the whole bunch over, because there's parking over for early voting and everything.
Well, then that might be
And that
something-
frees up our parking out here during early voting.
And that sounds like
But
a
that's
good.
just me, but Kathy, I mean, you more or less.
I don't know how big it is. Look how big the cafeteria is, and then look how big my room is downstairs. I mean, you gotta have an open space like this to accommodate
Well,
voters.
we'd probably have
I
to
don't
knock some
know.
walls down.
I know, but I don't, about how big it is. You said.
And it's a big parking lot. You probably add on to that building, rather reasonable.
so I got a question. We keep talking
Spend a
about
lot
the
of
third,
money.
we keep talking about the
There's
third
no
floor.
cheap fix.
What, the price you was talking about, the third floor was just gonna cool one section for her,
That end, doors, just that end was 104, 106,000.
How many
That
years
was
ago?
10 or 12 years ago.
It'd be
You can almost
25%
guarantee,
more.
I can almost guarantee it'd be 150.
How much do you think it's gonna cost
It's cheaper
to
than the
do,
building.
to redo the, we're just talking AC and
For AC.
humidifier,
And then
the
it's
total
junk
cost of that
upstairs.
project.
The
Yeah,
whole
there's three miles.
renovation project, of course, you won't be able to
I mean,
knock
hey.
out the hallway.
Yeah,
This might be
$1
sick,
million.
but
But
I
it costs
this-
$300,000.
I didn't even see this coming.
so,
Being a
And at the ballpark figure,
so we got that price from who?
it was, from, chemical contractor out of Kentucky, Circle C. And they stopped me right there after we got that.
Sure,
price.
yeah, I just knew we had a relationship with Train,
This was way before.
right, that's what I'm saying. I mean, we got a relationship with Train, maybe talk to them and get some prices.
Well,
You know,
What's
if
the
you go to the third floor, and Trey's sitting right there, you're probably gonna have to have a structural engineer go up there with you and see what's going to be knocked out because of what's reinforcing the fourth floor. And, that's not gonna be cheap, but we got the space here. And,
And we eventually gotta use it.
yeah, oh, we're gonna have to go up there eventually.
What's above the courtrooms?
It's
Is there some storage over there?
The sheriff's been using the third floor over there for part of the storage.
Narcotics office. But
I mean, it looked like a bunch of junk, made no offense, but it's what he used
That ain't
for
all my
storage.
stuff. That ain't all my stuff.
Burton can back me up on this. You can drag a chair across the floor and the judge and them can hear it. And if he's gonna be shooting and hollering and screaming, it'll be direct over the courtroom.
Well, I was wondering about the Lexington machine above it.
Yeah, me too.
Now, either, if you do Kathy's room up there, it's still we're gonna have to renovate the whole, wherever. And
You got
You'll have to move
air
this.
conditioning units that's sitting up there in some of the rooms.
Oh,
then the sheriff would have to move his detectives out on that one corner.
Hey, we're not gonna fix this tonight.
Can we get some prices? Can we?
I think me and Trey probably need to get together and, but the thing is, somebody's gonna have to move. One of the two of them need to decide who's going to be.
I just think the sheriff where he's at works out good for him with everything. And I see Kathy's bit too, down here.
it's tough to take a room away from somebody's had for 25 years.
Yeah,
I
it's
agree.
tough to take
I agree.
anybody's
That's
room.
hard for me, but
And I don't expect the sheriff to be responsible. He's not responsible for my machines. I am as administrator and these technicians.
The reason
It's
that
just
one-
where they are is protection. I don't expect him to,
well, but they could be just as well protected down there.
right, exactly. I don't expect him, but I just know if something should happen,
This building's.
somebody can get to them in a heartbeat where they are now. But that would not happen if I was down the road. If they're ready to go out for an election day and somebody got one of those crazy ideas, one of the parties, and thought they'd go in and take about 10 of our machines the day before the election.
Well,
That not be a problem.
I don't mind putting a deputy down there too during those times.
Huh?
So I
let's
wouldn't mind
face it,
putting
the room's had a
deputy down
bullseye
there
on it for
during
about
those
20-some
times.
years.
Getting on election day.
It's just me saying it like it is.
Any more discussion?
Well, I'm glad I don't have to decide who's in.
So we meet again when, next Tuesday,
Monday,
next Monday?
Monday.
Okay. I think we gotta come to a decision then.
That doesn't need the budget committee at all.
No.
Well, we so much like it when you come.
Oh,
Hey, but the budget committee needs to
I
be
tried to
aware.
drive it to the point. I never
Yeah.
did.
Hey, the budget committee needs to be aware that when they make that decision,
Bring the numbers.
Please think about the money that's gonna be spent.
Sure.
That's right.
Sure.
And bring the numbers. And the budget committee could say no.
well, hey, to get numbers, Trey, how long Joe, you reckon take to get numbers?
That ain't gonna happen in a week.
I don't think we come to a conclusion.
No.
6 months.
We'd like to.
I mean,
I just don't
10
think.
weeks, he's got
Architect.
fire range.
I know.
I know I can't go to the old, I
I
can't
know,
go
and
to
he's-
where,
He's got a piece of.
Safety
Wait, that,
I know I can't go there, but.
Don't
they
even
have
think
a
about that,
decent
dude.
room
Oh,
there,
it's gonna be
but
great.
It's just not.
hey, just don't even think about that,
Okay.
dude.
Our training cycle.
There's not even no parking.
Yeah, that's,
I know.
It's in compliance with all these new regulations from the governor
So-
last year.
I don't.
what's
think-
that, Sheriff?
I don't think you'll get that room by March. I mean,
I said March is when we start our.
y'all gonna be able to get everything moved and squared away from our machines by March?
Yeah,
No way.
I know, hey, I know, Sheriff, but man, I wish we'd known this back last June.
Well, we didn't know what the governor was gonna throw on us, and we didn't know he was gonna have money to pay for the technology that.
When did the governor tell you had to be up and running in March?
No, it's for this next year.
That March of next year. I speak to say you're
So
gonna give me another reason not to
they're
vote for
requiring you
the
to do this.
We have to have more reality-based training with
So what if-
de-escalation. and
What if you
mental
didn't get
health.
that Leo money and you wasn't able to have your own thing? What would you do?
We have to come up with another idea how to do it.
Well, I don't think you're gonna get that room by March. I just can't see that there's any way. I mean, unless these guys can work a miracle and get it done, I just don't see it.
Talking about next March?
I think he's talking this March. I
March
think
is-
he's talking like
We start this.
60 days.
60 days, it sounds like he's going, wants to be trained. He's
Or
said
30.
they're coming in 2 weeks to set it up.
Yeah, it's 30 or 40 days.
So the governor said you had to be doing it by this March?
We gotta be done this year. That's when we start our annual in-service training, get everybody through.
Where was you gonna do it if you hadn't got this room?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I came in December.
Well, December was just last month.
Early last month.
So if we put her down in the cafeteria, the machine's down there, it's not gonna
This is
happen.
the greatest thing I've ever seen in my
Well,
life.
it's, as long as they're secure,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
and then you got, what you've really got to find for her is 12 months. You gotta have a spot fixed and ready.
But we gotta have a secure spot right now to move in machines.
And that room would be secure.
Right, so I'm just saying, your thing is, how long is it gonna take to get the room secured?
So that's what I'm getting. Well, I got a question later. So when you say secure the cafeteria room for dummies like me, what do we mean by that room becoming secure? What does it require for that room to become secure, and what will it cost us to
I
make
think
that
that's
room
something we'd have to
secure?
get Trey to
Okay.
look into that, and Joe, to see what it would take for that.
Because,
Keep
I
in
mean,
mind,
it's,
whatever room you decide to move the machines to, if that's what
Mhm.
decision that is reached, that it's gonna be it has to be a limited access room.
right.
It's not a room like the cafeteria currently, there's who knows how many sets of keys, so all that's gotta go away. No one else is gonna be able to have access to it, because me personally, I'm not putting my name on the line on something that's not secure.
So we had changed locks first thing.
Right, you have to change
Okay.
locks, is there, I don't know if there's camera feed there,
I think we already got a camera up there.
Yeah, Chet's gone, I think that we do.
That room is significantly smaller than what you're working with, is that correct?
Oh, yeah.
And it will create
It'll create
challenges
some,
with that.
yeah, it'll create for, you
Because we're
know,
not, when you're talking storing, I mean, we're still having to do things to the machine, to work with the machine.
we're testing them because we wanna make sure they work in order, then I have our vendors come, they go over them to make sure they're working order, and when they find something wrong, they have to repair parts.
The state also just approved the new update coming out, so we'll have to install that across
Yeah, it's a
the
new,
network.
the state's wanting, well, you've been hearing about the paper trails and the paper ballots. State just approved our machines for a DVPT voting verified paper trail. So they're gonna be coming and testing and putting all those in before the next election.
How many people will be in the room doing that at one time?
They bring about 3 and then those 2, 5,
So it's like 5 people,
So,
it's 4 corners in the center.
70 machines.
70 machines.
So y'all be moving machines in and out of the areas where
No.
we're working.
No, they don't move in and out, they stay in.
I say in the room, but they're all around the corner, packed there, and there. You're gonna open it up and work on it, right? Okay.
So you could get with Trey, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, I've gotta ask one more
You
question.
could get with Trey, and y'all could go through this room and see exactly what it needs to secure it and make it the way it needs to be with locks and everything.
But
Could you do that, Trey?
what are you gonna do during early election, early voting? What are you gonna do with your machine? And this committee has got to keep that in mind.
Like, I don't have anywhere to put them.
We'll take them back down to his shooting range.
I mean, is your shooting range for, I mean, are you gonna be able to take it down and put it back up if you had to? If
We
we're
can,
trying,
but it don't take care of the issue of having voting machines in my area of responsibility there. I got 2 issues.
right.
See, I'm not really worried about that. We've done that for 25 years with multiple sheriffs. That to me is, that's
They're not his
out.
responsibility.
Right,
That's-
they're not.
They're in a secured
I
section
get
of
it.
the building.
It's as secure there are, I'm
He
throwing
has
that
no
out.
access.
I'm throwing that argument out.
Can I ask one question through the chair? Mike, the post commission's requiring all this training, and I get it, I understand it. Can you not move that forward 2 or 3 months to give this group an opportunity to figure something out? I understand they're gonna come set it up, show you how to set it up. It's portable. Can you not set it up in the cafeteria, go through your training with your guys, give these folks some breathing room, move your post-commission training down the road 2 or 3 months, and then move downstairs?
I can't move my training because of I got SROs, I got court, I got patrol. It has to be staggered out throughout the year. I'm trying to work, and I will try to work. You know, that's why I offer to pay for this or that, with the security of the thing. Yeah, if it needs to be April, I don't want the can keep getting kicked. I can't do that. I'm not gonna be sitting in federal court
But
with
and I don't
this,
either.
because I'm not gonna be the one to get sued.
If
Nobody
they can
else,
get some breathing room.
until I put everybody on notice that, hey, you've got a failure to train here on these new regulations. If something bad happens and I'm in federal court, and expose the
And the
county to a
same,
bunch of
the
liability.
same holds true for the election folks, we don't, in Fairland Court either.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying, if you give them some breathing room for your post commission, ask them to extend your training.
It's
timeline screwed up.
It started.
Yeah,
in
right.
December.
Come off the simulator and all of a
Right.
sudden we
You
got
come in December, you gotta have it about like
It's also the
2
day.
months.
I've got
45
people,
days.
I've got to do the same
that
thing.
ain't fair.
We already do 125 hours. We
Something
almost never get, we're to the end of the.
Got
We
it.
take
Okay.
every day. we've
I've got to be
I
employed.
appreciate
Six, I gotta
it.
go.
Stop.
I'm sorry.
Thank you,
Now I've
Keith.
got another
We're fixing to
40
adjourn
hours
this
I've got
meeting.
to put on top of it.
Like water.
You want to adjourn it?
Yes. Move to adjourn?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adjourn.
All right, I got a motion to adjourn. Get a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.